Welcome to episode number 83 of The Closing Table. I'm your host, Tamera, and today my special guest, Stacey Leslie, is going to talk about how to dominate a neighborhood with farming right after this.
Welcome to The Closing Table with host Tamera, where we break down how to be successful in real estate and what it's really like to work in the real estate business. This is The Closing Table with Lawyer's Title.
Welcome back. Stacey Leslie is the team leader of the agency at eXp Real Estate, and she actually has a 12-member team that has done $80 million in production in the last 12 months. So she is a boss, and I'm super excited to have her on the show today. And she is going to help us understand how to dominate a neighborhood with GeoFarming. So welcome to the show, Stacey. I'm super excited to have you on today.
Glad to be here with you.
And so we had a really robust conversation yesterday because there's a lot of people asking me or asking, there's the support teams that they have in real estate about geofarming right now. Mm-hmm. And so you have figured out how to dominate in geofarming. So I was really excited to have you on the show today because I feel like this is a conversation that I have quite frequently with realtors trying to figure out how to properly geofarm. So I want to really dive into this some more today. So thank you again for being on the show with me today.
You bet.
My first question for you is, what made you want to do geofarming as your primary lead source?
Mainly because I moved here from another state and I knew nobody. And in real estate, when you first get into real estate, they talk about your sphere. Call everybody in your sphere. I'm like, I have no one in my sphere. My kids weren't in school down here. There was nothing. So the neighborhood that I moved into, I was also told not to farm the neighborhood that I moved into because it was a new build neighborhood.
Okay.
There were only 150 homes and they told me no one's ever going to be selling anytime soon.
True. And that is something that we tell people, right? To pick something that's an existing neighborhood.
Yeah. So I just went out there and I thought, you know what? The only way for me to meet people, I'm an introvert by nature, which is really weird now with a team that I have.
That also surprises me too.
Yeah. Yes. But I would get out with my dog and take him for a walk. And I'm like, I'm not coming home till I talk to 3 people.
Okay. So, I don't want to skate over that because when you said that to me yesterday, I was like, that is so amazing that you made yourself get outside of your comfort zone and were really intentional to start meeting your neighbors, right? So you decided to farm your backyard where you live.
Yep.
And you went against, the grain because it was still a new construction neighborhood. Yep. But then you also made yourself vulnerable and exposed, which I think is great, to get out there and meet people in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And it wouldn't have had to be my neighborhood. You can pick any neighborhood to farm. I just did because that's where I was at. Now, looking back and learning and slowly starting to farm other neighborhoods, it can be anywhere. You want to pick a nice neighborhood that is the dollar amount you want to sell in, has a good number of homes. When I started, there was only 150 homes and I made that work. So there's no neighborhood too small either. Now there's almost 3,000 homes in the neighborhood that I farm. So it got built up along the way, but I joined Bunko, had no idea how to play it. I joined book club. I don't even read. So I just did whatever I could to get out of my comfort zone. And I wasn't going there specifically to speak about real estate. People talk about their everyday lives and ask what you do eventually when you ask them what they do. And it would just slowly, they would start to learn to ask me how the market's going and ask me questions along the way. To start building those relationships.
So I want to back up a little bit because I do want to set the stage. We did talk about how much of your business is from geofarming, and it was a really big amount. I was really surprised. So do you remember the stats that you told me yesterday about your numbers? Because and also, by the way, kudos to you for knowing your numbers. Okay. I was also that was a mic drop moment yesterday when she was like, well, let me look and knew what your numbers were.
You need to know your numbers in this industry. It's so hard as realtors to stop and do bookkeeping and accounting, and we're not known for that, but you can't move forward unless you know your numbers.
That's right.
So
how much of your business was from geofarming?
So this past year, right now for 2024, 82% of our sales came from geofarming.
Did you hear that? 82% of her business came from geofarming. Yeah. Okay. And then you did break it down a little further.
Yeah. As the years have gone by, so now I've been doing this for 12 years. 51% of those were sales still in that neighborhood, like new people calling and wanting to list, or I've moved them inside of the neighborhood. And then 31% still originally came from GeoFarming, but we've maybe moved them to other neighborhoods in Dallas, or they're referred us out to family and friends. And so the homes were sold outside of the neighborhood.
So if you helped someone from the neighborhood buy a house in a different neighborhood, did you look at that neighborhood to start geofarming?
Not necessarily. We did not.
Okay.
I wish I could have been better about that. We are geofarming in 4 neighborhoods now.
You are. Okay. So
Yeah.
before I get to my next question, I do want to back up just a second, because you started listing some of the criteria that you look at to decide if it's a good neighborhood to geofarm. So can you list out the criteria or the things that you look at to decide if it's a good idea to go there?
Sure. For us, we're more on the luxury real estate side of things.
Right.
So to me, it's the same amount of paperwork if you're selling a $200,000 home as a $800 to million range home. So I would just rather go for the higher price points. You treat the clients the same. They're maybe a little bit more high maintenance the higher dollar amount you get, but you might as well just already go for that higher price point. So we do that. Again, it doesn't matter how many homes. One of the neighborhoods that we geofarm in has 83 homes, Chapel Creek in Frisco. It's never going to grow any bigger. It's grown out.
Okay, so the size doesn't necessarily, or the capacity of homes doesn't really matter to you.
It doesn't. And if you're a newer agent, I actually suggest picking a smaller neighborhood so that you can handle it a little bit better. When I started, there were 150 homes. So doing events, my other big thing is I do not spend money on marketing.
Wait. You're skipping ahead. We're going to get to that. I don't want you to give away that golden nugget yet. So let's keep talking about the criteria you use to pick a.
Yes.
So the first one was your backyard.
Just a size that you can handle. And
okay, I like that.
For the events that you want to do and the ideas you come up with. I also like to pick a neighborhood now going forward. My very first neighborhood I geofarmed already had a Facebook page. I like finding the neighborhoods that don't have a Facebook page yet, because you can be the one that starts the Facebook page.
That is a great golden nugget, you guys. Like, you are the creator of the Facebook page. You are the admin of the Facebook page. So you have some sort of control over what happens with the Facebook page in the neighborhood. Now, have you run into any problems that you don't live in that neighborhood and you're managing the Facebook?
We have not yet. The neighborhoods, though, that I have picked, I've picked of my 12 agents. I try to pick where some of my agents live.
Yeah,
to help
great
them
idea.
Out with neighborhoods.
Yep. Okay, so you listed some of your criteria, and then and so that's what we tell people, right? You need to pick the neighborhood, and then we talked about what you're looking for in the right neighborhood. Now, I want to talk about something that I was really excited to hear yesterday. Okay, did you spend any money when you first started geofarming your neighborhood?
Nope, I spent not a dime.
Not a dime! So talk to me about how you did geofarming for free.
So my background is marketing, so that maybe helped me in the beginning, but there's plenty of classes out there to learn about it. So I already knew the return on investment on like postcard mailers and that type.
Yes.
And for realtors, honestly, I don't do them. I will now, 12 years in, maybe do 1 or 2 postcards a year, and that's it.
So no just listed, no just sold, no postcards direct mail to the neighborhood.
No, because the return on investment on a postcard mailer, you do just need to get one home. If you sell a home and you get a $10,000 commission check, that covers many mailers. But marketing via mailing is repetitive. So the statistics are, until you've mailed to them 4 times, they will not remember you. Now, that's on the overall marketing, no matter what industry you're in.
Right.
So when you narrow it down to realtors and that postcard and the same size everybody, the stats are probably even less than that.
Well, because how many are you getting a month in your mailbox?
Exactly.
I told you yesterday, I pay attention to them, but I'm in real estate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So if it's anything else besides that, I just scan, I don't need that, and throw it away.
You throw all the junk mail away the first thing when it comes. So to me, spending money on a postcard, I would have rather some of the things we've done for farming in the very beginning was a pumpkin patch for me. I went and bought 50-cent little tiny pumpkins. There was 150 homes, and I ended up having a vendor help me cover the cost so that I didn't pay for it. So I maybe spent $50 on pumpkins.
Okay.
For the event. I showed up. It's free for me to show up. Now time is money for me. But back then, when you're a new realtor, time is everything. That is the one thing you can do.
And I'm sorry to interrupt. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
That's okay.
But the neighborhood, did they put on this pumpkin event? And you said, I'm going to bring this for the event?
Yes, they put on a fall festival.
Okay.
Now in the neighborhoods I geofarm, we're the ones starting the event.
Starting it. Okay.
If it's a neighborhood that doesn't have a committee that does the events and things like that, and you actually want to have your own events, we now kind of get lost in the shuffle if we're at an event that's planned by the neighborhood because there's all kinds of vendors there.
Sure.
You need to stand out. That's the biggest thing, is standing out, really getting involved. I see other agents try and do events and spend all kinds of their own money, and then they just stand there at their booth and they don't really engage with people when they walk up. Or they're giving away a flyer of the houses they have listed. People don't care about
Nobody
that.
cares. Yeah.
You need to do something.
Okay, so you said a lot I want to unpack there. Okay. The first thing that I want to unpack is events put on by the neighborhood versus events you're putting on yourself. So like in my neighborhood, we were a newer neighborhood, right? And so the HOA got turned over to us. We developed a social committee. We're starting to have events, right? But so it's starting to work where we're having social events in the neighborhood, right? So at first it was like nobody showed up, and now we're gaining some traction, right? So I think that's kind of what you're talking about. And I think that I hear you saying that being a part of the community at first, because that was a new neighborhood, built neighborhood, was a better way for you to plug in as opposed to trying to lift it off the ground yourself.
Yes, it was. You can lift it up. So probably one of the biggest tips I can give is, in the farming, really use social media. It's free. That is going to be your biggest piece to pair in with it. So for example, what I can suggest, if you want to get started in a neighborhood, plug into the Facebook page or build it yourself. And one of the very first things that we do is, in Texas, in March, April, we get our bills for our property taxes. That is one thing we can do as realtors, is we run comps all day long. So everybody's getting their bills. Everybody wants to fight their property taxes. Nobody likes how much they pay. So you can go onto your neighborhood Facebook page and say, hey, I am a local realtor in your neighborhood, or near your local realtor if you're not in the neighborhood, and say, I would like to help you fight your property taxes for free. Just sign up below if you want me to take a look at your comps for your particular home and your bill, and see if I can help you fight and give you 3 comps that will help you go save money on your taxes. People eat it up like crazy. You are offering something for free. It costs you nothing to do but time to run those comps. And you want them to respond on the Facebook page and on your post with events. If you invite them to a pumpkin patch,
right?
Hey, how many kids do you have? Sign up down below and let me know so I have enough pumpkins. Just whatever it might be. Hey, 4th of July, we're handing out glow sticks, but let me know how many you have in your family so we can make sure we bring enough.
So you're engaging with them.
Yes,
You're starting that engagement, right?
Because every person who engages, Facebook, Instagram sends it out to 5 more people in that group, if it's a closed private group.
Sure.
So even in a private neighborhood group, if you post, if you don't have very many friends in the neighborhood and you don't really engage, your post is just going to drop to the bottom. You need people to respond. And then once one neighbor responds, whatever neighbor that person's friends with in the group, they all get the post. And every time somebody responds, the post just keeps getting boosted.
I think
that is a key piece.
Yes, to get people to come to the community events when you're trying to lift them off the ground. And it's really funny because you sparked something yesterday after we had our conversation. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to build like just a easy PowerPoint or whatever of a whole bunch of bullet points of things that we know about also that would help realtors get free engagement on their community Facebook pages, right? So it's more than just the taxes, how to protest your taxes. That's huge.
Yes.
But also the homestead exemption notices, right? And how to file for your homestead exemption. That's a touch for probably 4 times a year.
Yep.
And then I really like, because one thing that I've noticed in our neighborhood is people don't know how to take care of their houses.
No. Oh my gosh. That is another huge one.
They do not.
Become the expert. You're meeting contractors all day long.
All day.
Painters, sheetrock, mortar, fix your chimney, maids, cleaning, you name it. Become the expert. Be the one to respond. So I spend I get up at 4:30 to 5 every morning, but those first couple hours I spend by myself with my social media, just responding to people.
Sure.
And those kind of posts that I see, you will eventually get to a point where you get so many private messages of, hey, I saw 10 painters recommended on the Facebook page. I don't trust any of them. I trust your recommendation. Can you please send it over to me? And never give the recommendation on Facebook. Say,
You have to PM me.
yeah, PM me. I have an awesome, because then you can start engaging and gathering their information back and getting them in your database.
What, you just don't just drop it on there and just walk away?
'Cause then you won't hear from them again. Yeah.
I love all of this. It
Yeah.
makes me so happy.
Yeah.
So I also like the spring and fall maintenance tips, you know, how to prep your house for summer, how to prep your house for the winter, because that's a lot of the stuff that we get. And even just an easy video of how to, it sounds really dumb to us because we're in real estate, but it's not. There's a lot of people that don't even know about hose bib covers and why you should have one and how to put it on and that sort of stuff. So even just a easy video like that. But okay. So you leverage the neighborhood Facebook page for a lot of engagement in the neighborhood. And then you add that, or that's the front end marketing that you do for your community events. Okay.
Yep.
So we're going to start, or an easy way to start is to fold yourself into what the community is already doing. But a great idea based on what you said is to have your own at some point.
Yes.
Okay. And then you said something else really interesting. So you can't sit behind the table and hand out and hope that people come and talk to you.
Right.
You have to get out and
there.
talk to people.
Yeah. And don't be shy. I'm a total introvert. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. But yeah, this is your opportunity. You got all these people that come to the booth. Get out there and talk to them. Meet the kids, meet their family. Ask, what street do you live on in the neighborhood? You're the expert already in the neighborhood. And just how long have you lived here? Just easy questions to start engaging with them and find something, a common piece to then take out of the information that they give you. So many times I find out, I'm from Nebraska, and I'll ask somebody, I'm like, where'd you move here from? And they're like, Michigan. I'm like, Michigan, I'm from Nebraska. That is nowhere near close. But if you get excited with them, we're Midwest together. And then next thing you know, we're talking about football or whatever it might be. So it doesn't take much. You just got to engage.
No. And as a matter of fact, I told you yesterday that I've actually gotten contracts, like title contracts from engaging with neighbors in the neighborhood. Yeah. I didn't mean to, but, then I saw some of my friends were selling their house. We talked about we were selling their house. And I'm like, I want to make it special. So let me contact your realtor so that I can make sure that we celebrate you moving on to the next chapter of your life.
Yeah.
So like if I can get title orders from my neighborhood, you can get listings and buyers from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about how you leverage the neighborhood Facebook page, and I have some more questions regarding that. But I want to ask you first: do you do any pop buys?
Really don't. We don't.
Have you in the past?
I have in the past. I've dropped pumpkins off at doorsteps. I've done. We talked about this briefly. There was May Day baskets. If anybody's heard of May Day, you drop little gift baskets.
I had to have you explain that because I heard May Day as in you need to duck under the table, and it was actually May Day.
Yeah, you drop little treats at the door. And when COVID hit and kids can't get out and they're getting depressed and they're not home, again, I posted, hey, would your kids like a little treat on May? We're bringing May Day back. And the sign up, I think we had more than 300 families sign up. So we dropped little... I think we spent 45 cents on each little basket that we dropped. And again, a mailer these days is getting close to, $80, $90, $1 a piece.
Yeah.
I would rather give them $1 pumpkin and engage with the families in person or whatever it might be than send out a postcard.
So there was something else you did. There was a neighborhood garage sale.
Yeah. So I guess that would be kind of considered pop by-ish.
It kind of is. Yeah.
The neighborhood did a garage sale, and they do it twice a year. So we get on a golf cart and buy Starbucks coffee, cups, and donuts that say the agency on them. And we drive to every home that's having the garage sales and bring them breakfast while they're out there waiting for people to come by and work at the garage sale. And it's just something out of the norm that stands out that they're going to remember. Another big one that we do that's super easy to do, and you can do this in so many different ways. We didn't talk about this one yesterday.
Okay.
Is, we do neighborhood contests. So Christmas house decorating contest, Halloween house decorating contest. and you get, your open house signs on the plexi.
Yeah.
You can have one that says Halloween house decorating contest, the agency entrant number 1. So what I do is I post on the Facebook page and say, we're having a Halloween house decorating contest for the neighborhood. If you want to enter your home, or if there's a house that you really like the decorations, post a picture and their address. And the feed just goes on and
That
on.
is such a great idea. And then your giveaway isn't a big deal. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you.
No, that's okay. And we'll do like 3 gift baskets for giveaways, first, second, and third prize. We put a sign in their yard. So then we've got like
with your branding on it.
With our branding. So we have like 80 homes with signs in their yard, and people get so into it. I let them vote on Facebook. All you have to do is like the pictures of the ones that you like best, and whoever gets the most likes wins. And then we build a map, and we put little pumpkins on the map of the neighborhood of where all the decorated houses are. So on the weekends, the families get in their cars and they go to all the numbered houses that signed up and look at their decorations. And you are the talk of the neighborhood for an entire month.
And you are too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we do it. We didn't do it for Christmas last year because we do another big event. But that's just another easy. The only thing you're buying is you have your vendors do 3 gift baskets for giveaways, and you buy those cheap signs that are like, I think printing with the stake and everything were like $1.75 in altogether. And then we have the vendors cover that.
I think I'm going to change the name of this podcast into how to uncomplicate geofarming.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because everybody thinks it has to be this heavy lifting, expensive endeavor.
No.
But you keep talking about how to do it for little to no cost. It is sweat equity, right? There's a lot of sweat equity involved.
Yep.
But
that would probably be the biggest thing. You're wearing a lot of different hats. You want to be a realtor and just sell homes. When you do get into geofarming, there is a lot of sweat equity, but that's free.
That is free.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, okay, so you've done the community events, you've done the engagement on Facebook, so you're starting to build your presence, right? So how do we take those leads, right? Because that's what they are, and convert them into business?
So at each event, you want to gather their information somehow. QR codes are amazing right now. We do a Popple QR code right now. So we'll do a sign with the QR code on it. They'll just scan it and we gather their phone number, their address, the comps for their houses. They have to give you their home address and their email address. So we just slowly put them into our CRM. Then, for example, this last weekend, we did a benefit honoring a disabled vet. We've kind of taken him under our wings. He was found still living on his own with no refrigerator, owns his home, no electricity, and all kinds of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
We have what's called the Agency Angel Army. All of the contractors that I know came in and fixed his house for free. The roof, we got him gutters, we fixed solar panels, we fixed his front porch, we got his electricity going, just all kinds of, got him a new fridge. But we brought the community together. I just did an email blast. It takes less than 30 seconds to email my entire database and say, hey, come by. If you want to donate to the disabled vets, you can. We're going to have the hamburger man there, but come celebrate this 91-year-old disabled vet with us. And I think we had 300 people sign up.
That's incredible.
That's
and you redid his house.
Yes. And we redid his house. And I will tell you, at that event, it was literally just on Sunday. We got 3 folks, 2 that needed to buy homes, and 1 that needed to get their house listed in the listing appointments tomorrow for it.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So that in itself paid.
Because
but
that
the event was $0.
$0. Because that wasn't something that you went into intentionally to try to capture business.
Yeah.
You were trying to do something good for someone.
Yeah. I will say paired with, it kind of comes along with geofarming, but my true belief is, and I just stand by this, the more you give, the more you will receive back. Don't think of it as, I got to go do this event to get business for my real estate. Think about the pumpkin patch as a giving back to the kids. When you think about it that way and not about how many people can I hurry up and sell homes for, it just comes back to you tenfold.
Okay. I love that you said that because I had a conversation with a realtor not too long ago. I will never say names. But she does do things like she has little parties and does stuff. But, when I was talking with her about inviting her neighbors, she was like, and you could just tell that this sounded like work to her, right? It just was another thing she had to do to build her real estate business. So I love what you said because I didn't go out in my neighborhood with the intention of trying to get any title contracts. I went into the neighborhood because I wanted to genuinely get to know my neighbors.
Yeah.
And so it's had, those repercussions, those benefits afterwards. But I think coming from that abundance mindset is kind of what you're talking about, and genuinely wanting to connect with people. If you're genuine about what you're doing, then that business will kind of gravitate to you anyway. I love that you said that very much.
Yeah.
So actually you're not having to go to people and like, okay, do you want to buy or sell our house?
Right.
People are coming to you. You don't actually have to go out, have those conversations and convert, is what you're saying.
We call it passive selling. So many people are, I'm going to call on expireds. I'm going to call on for sale by owners. I'm going to go door knock. My whole team is not that way. You will never find any of my 12 making any sales calls whatsoever.
So you don't door knock?
No, just none of that. It is all passive sales. It is all just getting to know your community, getting out there and talking about things, and you will eventually build it to now a point that the phone just rings and it's all referrals. ROI is really important, return on investment to me. And I think that's my marketing mindset. It is so important. You get that one family and you close them one time. So many agents just, all right, the sale's done and that's the end of it.
Right.
You spent so much time and money getting them in. They are going to be worth tenfold. There's so many people at events that have not bought or sold from us, but they have sent us so many referrals over the last few years, their family, their friends, people they know moving, people that they work with moving, that, those stats, the 31% were outside of the neighborhood, but still came from some kind of connection in the neighborhood that we made.
I love that because a lot of people don't like picking up the phone to cold call. And they don't like knocking on somebody's door that they don't know, or they don't want to circle prospect when they're having an open house.
Yes.
So what you're teaching people to do is to build those relationships so that you don't have to go out and ask for that in a full court press way, right? And so people are coming to you, which I think is a great repercussion or a great benefit of having established these community events and position yourself in a really positive way.
Yeah. And, there's plenty of real estate agents that are very successful buying Zillow leads from whatever sources that they are. I have also really never bought any leads. I've tested a few, so I can't say that I never have.
Sure.
But definitely to us, spending money on leads is not the way we do things. Because those leads are also a one-time phone call unless you've really established a relationship. The selling this way to me, the passive selling and promoting, that is a forever relationship, and you get so much more business out of it.
Well, and guess what? Now you have a sphere.
Yeah. I now have a sphere.
I mean, when we were, the first question was like, you moved here from Nebraska and you didn't know anyone, so you did this, and now you have a sphere.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're getting repeat business, which is, kind of the tried and true way of building your real estate business.
Yep.
Okay, so step by step. What do you do when you get a listing in the neighborhood? How do you market it? How do you help find the buyer for it?
I will say that is where I do spend my marketing money.
Okay.
So I don't spend it on prospecting, but I do spend it on selling my client's home. So a listing's, if it's typically around 3%, I will spend 1 full percent of my commission that I will be expecting on marketing their home.
Okay.
So, we do not skimp out on photos. Photos are everything. The internet is everything.
So important.
Yes. I want that 3D effect. I want those drones. I want the videos. I want the walkthrough and tours. So I don't skimp there.
Okay.
Email blasting, I'm huge on instead of mailers. Email blasting is a lot less expensive. And I don't email blast to prospects. I email blast to agents. So we only send them to agents because agents are the ones who are going to bring you the buyers.
So what does your email to the agent say?
It'll just say, we have a brand new listing. You've had buyers in this neighborhood before in this price point.
Okay.
Want to see if you have anybody for this particular one.
So you're targeting.
Yes.
You're specifically targeting agents that have worked in that neighborhood.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, and you can pull them that way from several different databases, and they're pretty inexpensive to do. The flyers that we have in the open houses, A lot of the neighborhoods we geofarm have their own, the developer has their own email blast that goes out. That's free to us. So we ask them to put our homes that are for sale when they send out the developer about the neighborhood.
Do they do that?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I would think that they wouldn't want to because you're trying to sell a house and they're trying to sell a house.
Yeah, nope. Now they will
Yep,
focus. They will focus on their new builds, but they always want to have a resale section, or it doesn't make them look as good.
Okay.
So yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. So
I've
we
not
always
heard
ask
that
for
idea before. That's a new one. I like it. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. Well, and if it is a neighborhood that's still building out, we'll team up and also go to the builder and say, hey, if somebody doesn't fit your home, this is what I've got on the market.
That's right. Yeah.
And then it is amazing how tenfold it has turned around, and the salespeople call us and say, hey, they really don't want one of our homes, but would you like a buyer lead? Because they're ready to buy in the neighborhood. So it kind of just really turned around, and I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
we're pretty close with the builders in the different neighborhoods we farm too.
Okay. So the dollars go towards the actual listing, which I like.
Yes.
You're doing the upfront marketing for free, right? And the
Yes.
promotion for next to free, right?
Yeah.
Not all completely free. But when it comes to listing, you do need to spend money, and photos are
Yes.
really important. There's entire Facebook groups dedicated to bad photos on
Yes.
listings. So
Yes.
if you don't do it right, you're probably going to get made
Yeah.
fun of somewhere.
Yeah. And the agents that don't think open houses work, open houses are everything.
Okay, please talk about
Yes.
open houses.
That we get so much business from open houses, and a lot of that pairs over to farming. You hear people say, I don't want all the noise, the nosy neighbors in my house. I'm like, yes, you
Yes,
do.
you do.
And actually, I post in the neighborhood. It's called a Pick Your Neighbor Time.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't you want to pick your neighbor?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So many people will refer their family and their friends, especially in Texas. We're so transient here. Everybody is moving here.
Mhm.
It's just a melting pot. So you want the neighbors to come in because they're the ones that are going to talk up your home to other
Sure.
neighbors. They live in the neighborhood for a reason. So open houses are huge, and there is an art to working an open house.
Do tell.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just stand there when people walk in the house. You've got to engage. So I will ask question after question after question until I can reach them. And I don't want to do it in an annoying way, but I'll be like, hey, you're out looking up at open houses. Do you live here locally? It's a yes or no, and you can go from there. If they live not locally, what state are you coming from? If you live locally, what part of town? Why would you want to move up here then? And you just have to find that thing that you gravitate with them towards. It'll be something. They want a house with a pool. And I'm like, I love my pool. I use it all the time. Just whatever you can to engage with them and truly find out what they're looking for. It is amazing how many, all 12 of my girls go through a very deep, watching each other do open houses and learning how to do them correctly. I'll tell you, when I very first started in the business, one of the very first guys on my team, I felt so bad for him, and I won't say any names. He was working at one of my first $1 million open houses with me, and I had given him lead after lead after lead because I was overloaded. And I went to my team lead, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. He hasn't closed a thing. And he's like, you need to go watch him at an open house, but don't interrupt. Just sit back, however hard it is. So we're working this $1 million open house. And a couple comes in, lives down in Highland Park area of Texas, and they want to move up north, and the house is not for them. And so this guy is like, oh, it's not for you. Well, what are you looking for? And they're like, well, we really want to be on the water. And so we're building in the neighborhood. There's new builds all around going up. And he's like, oh. And I see the light bulb going on. I'm like, I know exactly what he's going to say. But instead he says, you know what? They are building some new houses right around the corner. So if you just go out the door and head down around the corner to the sales office, they're going to be able to help you out.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, okay.
No. Yeah.
So it does take an art and understanding.
Yeah.
I think people just have it, and just some people don't.
Yeah.
And then the other question was, I had coached him, and he's like, do you have a house to sell? And they're like, yes, we do. We're going to need to sell first in order to buy. And he's like, that's great. And I see the light bulb go on again, and I'm thinking, okay, good job. Good job.
Right.
And he's like, you know what? I think I know an agent down in that area that can help you sell.
No.
So you think that everybody knows how to work open houses.
Yeah.
When I hear people say they just don't work for me, I really think you need to go shadow someone who's successful at open houses.
I think that's a great golden nugget.
There's something missing there if you're not closing from open houses.
You may have a bunch of calls of people who want to go, hey, Stacey, we need to hold your next open house.
That's fine. That's fine.
I think that's really It's so interesting that you say that because, I hear from high producing realtors that all of these things work.
Yes.
So if it's working for the realtor that did 80 million in production,
Right.
it will work for you too. You know what I mean? And so I love all the golden nuggets that you've given us today. Okay, so there's a couple more questions I want to ask you about before we wrap up today. The first one is, and you brought this up yesterday, I thought it was really interesting. For whatever reason, I have never thought about this question before, but how do you build trust with your neighbors to get them to confide in you about their finances? Because they're your neighbors, right? And want to come to you with your real estate transaction.
Yeah, that's really important in farming. So the neighborhood I live in happens to have 74 plus agents that live there now.
That's a lot.
I maybe caused that because there was only 150 homes at first. But I just kind of keep at it. I tell the girls, keep your head down.
That's right.
Keep going. But what I have learned over the years is you do want to become that. It's almost like attorney privileges as a realtor. You need to let people know that they can trust you. You don't want to be the neighborhood. When you go to these events and you're farming, you don't want to be out there, the drinking, partying type.
What, shots?
Yeah,
Shots.
yes.
No, that's
so many
bad. Don't do
times
that.
I'll see realtors like at Bunko or poker night or whatever, and they think they're doing a great job and they're all personality and having fun. Then they have a few too many drinks.
Right.
And now you have ruined your everything that you were trying to build because it just takes 30 seconds to give a bad impression and they're not going to trust you with their biggest asset, financial asset that they're trying to sell. So you have to really know that fine line to walk, be out there personally, but just don't cross.
I think that's
a
really big golden nugget is because once it's your neighborhood.
Yeah.
So you let your guard down, right? And you want to become friends with people, but you still have to understand that you have a business that you're building in this. And I think that is an interesting consideration when wanting to geofarm your backyard.
Yes.
So maybe that's not where you want to do business because you want to be able to do whatever you want to do, right?
Yes.
But
you got to make that determination yourself.
Yeah, I think that is really, it doesn't take long to turn somebody off.
It doesn't. I mean, you can work months and months and months to build somebody and you can lose them within 30 seconds if you do something wrong.
It was really funny because it's good timing. Jason Esparza, I don't know if you know who that is, the Rook. Anyway, he posted a video yesterday that discussed kind of the same thing, but it was about social media posts. How you need to stop because we're right in the middle of getting ready for the election and all the things.
Yes.
And so the Cowboys aren't doing well. So there's a lot of posts that are pretty aggressive about all of these things that are going on. And so I thought his video was very timely about take 30 seconds, stop, and decide if this is a good idea for your business.
Yes, especially with farming and if you use the social media outlets. Again, as an introvert, this was so hard for me. I would not be on Facebook and Instagram if I was not a realtor. And I don't think I was before I became a realtor. But everybody, they need to know about your family a little bit.
Sure.
It's a connection thing with all of your neighbors. It's amazing how many people walk up to me and they're like, how are your kids doing?
Yeah.
And, I saw they were, and I'm like, I don't even know who you are. But so you have to do that and you got to sprinkle and mix in the real estate in just the right amount. But you really need to think political. If you do one political post, you've lost 50% of the people out there.
It's unfortunate, but it's true.
It's half and half. At sports, same thing can happen. You just really got to watch and think about what you're posting. And it's the same thing about when you go out and farm and you're at the social events in the neighborhood. You just really have to think what sets you off when you read different posts and just really watch what you post.
And if you have a question, call your title rep because we're Switzerland all the time.
Yes.
Growing up as an affiliate in the real estate industry, I had to always keep things to myself. I don't have a political affiliation. I'm not religious, I don't have a religious affiliation, but it's just because I don't want that to affect my business either, right?
Yes.
So you kind of have to always think about things that way. I do exactly what you're talking about on social media. I sprinkle in some posts of peanut. Everybody loves the peanut post.
Right.
I've got my work stuff, but, and when I go out on the lake, everybody likes that kind of stuff. But, you got to be careful, unfortunately.
It is. It's really hard. And then you have the realtors in the neighborhood that post everything that they're doing. They think that's great. But then all they're doing is, do they ever sell a house, and do they really take their job seriously? I mean, there's such a fine line to walk.
Okay, Stacey, before we wrap up for today, I just want to ask you any last minute advice or anything that you want to reveal that we didn't talk about so far today?
Oh, I think we did a lot of it. I mean, you don't have to spend a lot of money, especially as a new agent out there. It's tough. You're already paying a lot of fees for everything, but marketing is so important in getting out there. But just get creative. You just sit and think of different ideas. You can go to Pinterest, Etsy, all kinds of places to come up with other realtor ideas. Just search. AI can even help you on ChatGPT to come up with ideas. But I always just think, what can I do for free or minimal? What partners can I partner up with? One really key thing, though, is when you do have your partners partner up, you need to send them business. Yes.
Thank you for saying
yes. Don't take advantage of that. I'm very loyal to who I use and who I ask to help me with the marketing stuff because, they're using their dollars and they're trusting that you're going to bring in the business and they're not going to be in the limelight. So you just got to really make sure you pick good partners that you want to partner with on these events.
I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much for doing that. Well, that wraps up another episode. This was episode number 83 of the Closing Table with Lawyers title. Again, I'm your host, Tamera Gady. If you like my content, you're really going to love my escrow team. So let's get a conversation going about your title needs, and you guys make it a great day.